Hello and welcome. These are horse racing selections for Thursday, the 13th of July. I am Flat Cap Callum and I'm hoping you are all very, very well. Well, if you stayed up, fair play. This is a very, very, very late upload. It's taken me a bit of time. There's a lot of potential in Thursday, and yeah, so there's a lot of potential. There comes a time in everyone's life where you hit a crossroads, and there's a crossroads happening right now. Not for me, but for a lot of viewers, and that's very, very understandable because we've hit a little bit of a flat spot. It's not gone well the last few weeks. We're on a bit of a loss run. We're £47 down for July. We've only really had one big win this year. It hasn't felt as good as last year, and so there's a few people understandably asking questions, suggesting alternative ways of doing things, expressing elements of doubt. That's all fine. It's all normal. Everybody's got a choice. You got a choice. Now, if this is the moment where, for most people, if you're doing your own betting strategy and the doubt creeps in, you go, do you know what? I'm going to change it. I'm going to do something different. What do I do? Do I have to go and do some soul searching to go and find out what shall I do next? Or do I just go back into my data mine and start looking at the data? And it's there to be found. It's not been a year like last year started better than this year. But what do we know about last year? We know that the best months of last year were in the last 6 months of the year. They were the biggest wins. We struggled. We were making profit, but we struggled for the first 6 months looking for a decent win. It wasn't until the end of July did we hit a really, really nice win last year. But we did have more winning days in the first 6 months of the year. That would be true to say. If you go back and look at last year's stats, what was the worst point last year? The worst point was the 17th, get it right, 17th of June to the 19th of July 2022. That was the worst period of time in June. So that was like a 32-day period, and we've been about down 12 days stake in that period. We're not in that state earlier. We had a worse point of that beginning of this year. But the last decent win we had, where we at least doubled our money, was the 15th of June. I think. Well, not even quite double money actually, but 15th of June was the last time we made. No, it wasn't. Would have been, yeah. So we made £58 profit on that day. So since then, we haven't really done much. So if it tracks like last year, does that mean by the end of this week we should come out of the funk? That's what last year says, but last year's just 1 year, isn't it? You can look at the stats any which way you want. The channel is in profit this year, and I said it on yesterday's vid. It is just one single day as propping us up a little bit. So we're absolutely overdue. People can make their choices about and make their own views about what has impacted this or what's not impacted that. What I'd say is it feels for everybody out there in tipster land, it's been a tougher year this year than last year. It's always getting harder because the game's getting harder because the rules keep changing and they're never changing in your favour really. So that makes it harder. But when I look across from a value point of view and look at other people out there in the industry who look at value, even if they're doing it a slightly different way to what I do, I think people generally have struggled this year. It's not been an easy year. Yes, there was some massive big price winners at Ascot and there was a few at Cheltenham, but there's not been loads of things knocking about. And if you look in recent weeks, generally finding it is absolutely dominated by single figure price winners across the board. So where does that leave us? Does that mean I'm going to pack up shop and go home? It means we double down on what we do, doesn't it? It means we're having a little go on Thursday. There are 4 races primed for my type of strategy. So we will go big. We might go home. I certainly hope you won't lose your home betting on what I'm doing on the channel, because if you're doing that, then you're betting far too much money. But it is a £35 stake and 3/4 for Thursday, 7 bets, a big focus on the 4 main races, 1 at Doncaster, 1 at Newmarket, and 2 at Leopardstown. What do we know about those races? Well, we know that the one at Doncaster is over a mid-distance, but it's 5.5 furlongs, same as the Portland Handicap, but a lower quality race. So how easy is that to try and find horses that are optimised between 5 and 6 furlongs? Because hardly ever times that they run there. I mean, not many tracks have got a distance like that. Weatherby has outside of Doncaster. That's tricky. We're going to go Newmarket, massive field handicap there with 3-year-olds. So who knows what's progressing there or not. Also, by the way, we'll chuck in the curveball for that Newmarket that it's the July course, so you can't really judge the old rolling mile type course. So in this time of year, so sort of June, July, August, you use the July course. So you can't go early season, you can't go Guineas meeting and look at that form and necessarily translate it. So we've got that, and then we go Leopardstown, where it sometimes can be a bit of an Irish lottery, albeit one of them's a good quality Premier handicap. If we've got a good quality Premier handicap in Ireland, you know I won't be the only one chucking darts there, will I? I'll be alongside Ado McGuinness, who's, I think, to be fair, he's only got 4 horses running in it, but normally at least has about half a dozen. So I'm not the only dart thrower in these races. All right. There's your big preamble. Now I'm going to get cracking on to stuff because I need to go through the dismal result that was Wednesday, and then I'll get through the 7 bets. But yeah, I guess just trying to be open and transparent. I'm not legged by kind of ego and bravado, and I've talked about this before. I'm led by data. So people can suggest to me that I'm guessing and just glancing at form, and that's how I come up with my tips. I'd suggest that might not be an accurate way of describing what I do, but I'm not going to come on here and be all defensive. I do what I do. I say, judge me on the long term. In the short term, the last few weeks, not been very good. If you judge me on this year, it's not been the best compared to last year. Slightly got my head above water. We've missed a few days of vids, that would be true to say. And when you're doing stuff the night before, I think Tam made this point, which is a really fair point. When you're betting the night before, you do therefore find yourself in more non-runners when it comes to race time. So that is a hazard at this time of the evening. But yeah, I'm led by the data. I'm researching the horses in the same way. I'm taking the same amount of time. Certain types of races I'm just not looking at because I don't have time. But the bulk of what I normally look at, I'm looking at it in the same way I was looking at it last year. I just think it's slightly hard to come by, and we're overdue. But I'm not on here to promise anything. Death and taxes, they're certain in life. Making profit is not a certainty, never is it a certainty. But what is a certainty is I will try my best to give you my best. And bear in mind, it's all free. So there you go. All right, anyway, what was that? Right, yeah, Wednesday. Yeah, it was just a bit of a tight one, really. We had 3 place and 3-1 out the placings, which would have made a nice difference. But I was massively disappointed with that. That did some silly things in the market. 50-1 into 9-1. I think it was back out to 16-1. It ran like a 50-1 shot. That did weird things. That went out to 33s, then back into 11s, and it was 1 out the places. That was shortened close, but not close enough. That was 1 out of the placings. So, there was nothing back on that race. But 1 out of the placings, I think about 2 or 3 out of the placings, 1 out of the placings. Slim margins, I would say. It often is, and it was again. Adace, I think, didn't get a great run. Gracious Anna was the one I tipped the night before at 33, so I'm hoping some people got a nice bit back on a single at 33s on that one. Place 14 for the Channel NSP. That was awful, and that was a non-runner, so it was a place with a non-runner. And then ran with credit, it went to 40-1, it was 6th of 14, which is not a bad performance, but clearly not what we want because you want top 3. Lexington Dash was 3rd, Prisoner's Dilemma was 1 out the placings, Miss Slovakia was placed, and Epilorn was a bit of a disappointment, to be fair. So we've got place double on one leg and a place single on the other. And then this bet got sunk, but we were 1 out the places, 1 out the placings, so close to a place double. As it is, it was 20 on, 492 back, which 1508 loss, which actually is the worst loss we've had in about 3 weeks. I think 3 weeks since we had a like a plus £20 loss. So again, that's not going to feel very good, losing 3/4 of our money. So what's the remedy? Let's have a go at Thursday, and we will have a little go at Thursday and see what we can do. So it would be very nice for those people who are doubtful to have a nice day so we can have a bit of reinforcement, but there's no guarantees. We could lose £35. Up to you, your choice. I've put my £35 down. 2:15 Carlisle. That is not everyone's first race to look at. 11-year-old horse. It's a good betting structure, but to be fair, that was secondary. I liked the horse, and then I looked at the betting structure and I thought, oh, this will do. 25 to 1, I think it's a cracking price to try and get that horse framed with no extra places. It's the only Carlisle horse I got. And then the 350 down Patrick, I'd rate that horse more like 12s and 14s. It's definitely inconsistent. Bricard, I don't know if I've said that right, do I? But yeah, first 4 place at Downpatrick. There's a lot of horses that Ropey has on form on that race. So I think that it's one of them ones. 50% of the time that runs enough. That'd run well enough to place. So we'll take a chance on that. And then 650 Leopardstown Big Field. Boomerang Bill is my number 1 pick in that race. 725 Leopardstown Cordovan. One of Ado McGuinness's is my number 1 pick in that race. 28 to 1. It's a 20p each way, lucky 15, all above 20 to 1. That is not how everyone chooses to bet. That's how I choose to bet. 35p each way double on the first 2. So we're going for an early place double. Win double, we'll be over the moon, but place double, if we can land that, that would give us a really good start to the day before we've got to the evening. But you never know. Right, 365. Same place terms, best bookie to put the bet on with. Then it's Sky or Unibet, second best. And then next tier down, Paddy, Coral or Ladbrokes. 670 is your bet for bet 1. All right. Bet 2, 235 Doncaster Par Fire 14 to 1. 3 o'clock Newmarket Redemption Time 22s. 5:20 Newmarket Bling on the Music 10 to 1. 5:30 Doncaster Eldrick Jones 11s. That's the short price bet for the day. 18p each way, lucky 15. £6 is our bet. Sky Best, then Unibet, and then Coral / Betfred are joint third best. That's bet 2. Bet 3, we've got this. 235 Doncaster Missed Belladonna 20s. 3 o'clock Newmarket Dark 30 at 33s. 7:15 Newbury Lawn Ranger 11s. And then we're going to split leg 8:20 Newbury Estrella Star 22s and Systematic 33s. That's 2 times 10p each way, lucky 15s. First 3 with Estrella Star, first 3 with Systematic. Shout out to Graham and Mark, long-time followers of the channel who were going out for a nice night out at the race at Newbury. Hope you have a lovely time. That's what I've got for the channel. Sky Best for that one, then Coral next best, and then Unibet third best. £6 is your bet. That is bet 3. Bet 4, first a combination double bet. 235 Doncaster Miss Belladonna at 20s, Par Fire at 14s. Added in J.R. Cavagine, I think 9 to 1. Then the 3 o'clock Newmarket Dark 30 33s and Redemption Time 22s. 6 times 25p each way doubles. Sky are best. Then 365 Coral or Ladbrokes are second best on that one. £3 is your bet for bet 4. Bet 5 is our dreamy. When we have a little go, we do this. We go 16 times 10p each way fourfold. So the main 4 races, 2 apiece. We need at least a horse to place in each leg. 235 Miss Belladonna at 20s, J.R. Cavagine at 9s. 3 o'clock Newmarket Dark 30 33s, Redemption Time 22s. 650 Boomerang at Leopardstown, that is Boomerang Bill 22s, Slamador 20s. 725 Leopardstown, Cordovan 28s and over here 16. 16 times 10p each way fourfolds. It's a 320 bet. Sky is your best place. Then 365 and then Coral or Ladbrokes is how I would call that one. That is bet 5. Then last 2 are both Leopardstown only bets. So lucky 15 for Leopardstown, 545 Charming Lady 25, 615 Mike Kirkham 22s, 650 Slamador at 20s, 725 Star Harbour at 28s, 18p each way, lucky 15. 540 is the bet. Sky, then 365, then Betway. Betway, flag on Betway because they are something stand out on something. There was can't remember. I think they're 6 on one of those Irish ones. I think that's why I put it in there. So Betway shout out. Then Paddy, Coral or Ladbrokes. 540 is the bet. Bet365 are not so good on some of these Irish horses, but they are there. 33s you can get on Bet365 at the time of making the video. 18p each way, lucky 15. And we'll finish with a combination double, and I've added in one other horse that's not anywhere else. So the 650 Boomerang Bill 22s, Slamador 20s, Treble Cone 50 to 1. 725 Cordovan at 28, Star Harbour 28, over here 16. What I would flag is that Sky are best bookie, but they're also standout prices the night before as well, which is really unusual. So not only have they got the best place terms, they've actually got the best prices the night before. Bet Victor have got good prices, but they're 4 places apiece. So yeah, it's a bit of an unusual one. So we've got 9 times 25p each way doubles. So all combinations of doubles, it works out as 9 different ones. You put them all in the bet slip or write them all like that. We've got an additional single 40p each way single on Treble Cone. We've not backed it anywhere else. Sky best, then 365 second best. Betway third best. Paddy, Coral, Ladbrokes jointly 4th best. 530 is the bet. All right, that's the plan, the £35 plan. So we could end Thursday 50 down for the week, and we could be better than that. That's what we're hoping. Golf starts about 8:30 in the morning, or for certainly our players, if you're in following the golf stuff, that starts at 8:30 in the morning. And I was going to quickly mention Wimbledon before I finish, because the Wimbledon bets are put out certainly for top quarter were absolutely terrible for the beginning of the tournament. But interestingly, the way the tournament's panned out, we've got the semi-finalists. In the men's draw, basically the player that was favourite in each of those quarters has made it to the quarter. So Dimitrov, Alcaraz, Sinner and Medvedev. So I was never going to back him at short prices. Djokovic odds on Alcaraz, I think maybe almost was. Was never going to put them out in the way I do the bet. So it's gone basically with the favourites. In the women's draw, you've got a couple in there that were the favourites, and the only 2 outliers are Svitolina, who I wouldn't have backed coming this, which is about 3 months back from being off, from having a baby. So she wouldn't have been a pick for me. And then I think it's Vondarova, who previously has been at Wimbledon 4 times, lost in the first round 3 of them, and the second round 1 of them. She would not have been a pick for me for the semi-finals. So yeah, it's not like I've looked at the outcome there and gone, oh, I could have done this or I could have done that. 6 of the 8 favourites have made it into the semi-finals, and the 2 that weren't ones I was going to back. So yeah, not a year for value playing for Wimbledon at all. Normally you get a few more rogues make their way into that stage of the competition, but not so much this year. All right, that is me. I'll be back on, when am I be back? Friday morning, with Friday selections. And I did mention in the comments, so I'll be back Friday morning. I'll be then back Saturday morning, and that will be me for the week, because Sunday racing is Perth and Stratford jumps, and that's it. And I'm not even going to bother looking for the channel. So there's no Irish racing, no flat racing. And I don't know at this stage what the field sizes will go down to on those 2, but they're not tracks I get excited about from a value betting point of view. You tend to not get big fields so much in either of them. You might get the odd race, but yeah, I'll not be doing any video selections for Sunday. If I happen to find the odd horse, if I look at it, I'll put it in the comments like I usually would do. But videos after here, Friday morning, Saturday morning, and that is it. Excuse me. All right, I'll finish it there. I'll go to bed at some point after I've put a bunch of my own bets on. So yeah, all right, that's me. Thank you very much. See you in the next video. Thank you for all of those long time suffering supporters who were sticking with it. I very much appreciate every nice comment, every like that you put in there. Thank you very much. All right, good night or good morning, probably for most of you. Bye bye.